Hi, welcome everyone, welcome to the ElectricmotorGP show, and today we've got something with us that seems to be very difficult to actually believe that it's true. MG have decided to come up with something that is unbelievably quick, unbelievably powerful, and the price is not scary. So you're talking Ferrari, Porsche type accelerations in a straight line for the price of Toyota Corolla, Toyota Yaris, and slightly more. And how have they been able to do this? We don't know, but we're going to go through that today. And that particular thing we're looking at is the MG4 XPOWER. The MG4 XPOWER, from everything about it, this car has got 435 horsepower and 0 to 100 in 3.6 seconds. So in a straight line, this thing's unbelievable. But how well does it do? Does it corner well? Does it do well? Join me as we go through the review of the MG4. That with the front grille and the way the whole exterior looks. MG have given us a very aggressive looking set of headlights with that X Factor look that's similar to what you find on the Porsches as well as on the BYD's Ocean series. So you've got the curvature coming this way and giving you that X light. You've got your daytime running lights this way with your aerodynamics and lights coming there. You've got your diffusers and grills in there to help improve the aerodynamics of the car. The car's got a drag coefficient of about 0.23, and everything about it tells you how much this car has been designed to be quick. If you look this way, the rake of the steering wheel also improves the aerodynamics as well. This is one thing I don't think they've thought through in terms of where the mirrors sit, and that has an impact on when the car is going pretty quick as well. Also, they haven't done flushed doors with the handles as well. Again, this also has an impact on wind noise when you're driving the car. It's rides on 18-inch wheels, but they look a lot bigger from the way it's been structured and the way it's been designed. You've got a 5-spoke alloy wheel in there with the XPOWER brake calipers on it, and which is bigger than the standard model that you get with the MG4. Moving around it, you then have the best part, in my opinion, the shape and size of the boot. Right, so you've got your diffusers at the bottom there, and you've got your aero intake in there. Again, all of this helps to guide the air through, improving the drag coefficient of the car. And if you look at the way the diffusers, it helps it continue to have that aggressive stance when the car is moving. Now, unlike a lot of Chinese cars, MG actually got this one very, very good in the context of how good the suspension is. It sits firm, it corners very well, it drives very, very well when you're accelerating in this car. And we want to figure out how well the car drives when you're going into corners and you're doing stuff with the car. So we're going to be testing that out later on today. The boot size of this car is going to be in the top corner there, so you can see how much space it is. But I think where the car is let down a bit has to be the interior. So join me as we have a quick look at the interior of the car. Right, so when you sit down in the interior of this car, it's the things that lets it down. You've got cheap plastic at the top. You've got leather interior here with the brushed aluminium here as well, but cheap plastic there. You've got your speakers in there. You've got good controls for your air conditioning. But if you come closer to have a look, what you find is that you've got a 7-inch driver instrument cluster and a 10.25 infotainment system. Now, the only problem with this is that it's a bit laggy. So if you notice, I've pressed the home button and I've got to press it 2 or 3 times before it responds, which is part of the problems that I've noticed with the car itself that makes it very difficult for you to say you're going to enjoy the car as much as you want to. So you've got a 10.25-inch infotainment system in the car, which is a bit laggy, which is one of the reasons why people are not, which is one of the reasons why I wasn't too impressed with this. Trying to get it to respond to whatever you're trying to get it to do takes a little bit of effort with it. The other thing that is not very good at this price point, you still don't have wireless Apple CarPlay. Now, if you look down at the wireless charger here, unfortunately it's not very ergonomic, and as soon as you accelerate, whatever phone you put in there actually flies off there. I do like the brushed aluminium for controlling your drivetrain. So you've got your reverse, your neutral, and your drive in there with your park button in the center. And if you're in the middle of driving, you can actually use that for auto parking. And the car does have one pedal driving. Piano black in the middle of the steering wheel, which then gives you access to your ADAS. It's got level 2 plus ADAS in there, and you can use this to control your volume and other aspects of the car. You've got space here for you to put stuff in. You've got your cup holders here. You've got your USB-C and your USB-A with the 12-volt socket here, and you do have a big space. Well, not big, but you do have a glove compartment present there as well. One of the things that a lot of people will be happy with is the fact that you can control your AC with this here, but this is also not very intuitive when you're trying to use it. And if you come into the back here, you've got enough space in here for your cubby hole to put stuff in. It does narrow at the bottom. Now, I'm not that tall, and I've set this up that I've got enough space in there. But sitting down, this seat, even though the side bolsters are very good, it has little or no lumbar support. It has no under thigh support, which means when you're driving, you find that you're going to be very uncomfortable. I was ending up with a lot of knee pain while I was driving this car. So the other bit in there is, if I've set my seat out to my driving comfort, I'm just going to hand this over to my colleague here, and I'm going to pop into the back so you can see how uncomfortable it is. So jumping into the back seat, this is so uncomfortable. No under thigh support in there. I'm literally back into the chair. The headroom is pretty good. And again, you've got the scratchy bits in there, scratchy bits everywhere. Just the armrest is the only thing that is not scratchy. So if I take this and show you this, it looks pretty good from here. You got the piano back leather bits in there, but like I said, scratchy. Now, it is big enough for you to get a car seat in here, which we put in to test this out. And if you put it in the front, you've got enough space in there that someone can sit comfortably with there, and then they've got enough legroom in there. You can squeeze in a third passenger in here, but they probably have to be very skinny. All right, so let's go for a drive and see how well this car handles. I was already impressed with the car when I test drove it in December. Why was I impressed? The handling of the car, the way the car was able to move, the way the car goes into corners, the low center of gravity of the car, and the amount of power that was available even in the base model, which was about 200 kilowatts. Was it 160 or 200 kilowatts on the rear-wheel drive of the base model, which then meant that you could get 0 to 100 in about 6 seconds or thereabouts. The XPOWER is a different ball game entirely. This is a performance model with premium performance at an affordable price. I'll put it into context for you. If you're going to buy a car that can do 0 to 100 in less than 4 seconds, especially if you're buying legacy, you would be spending well over $150,000 to $200,000. Mention any car that can do 0 to 100 in that speed, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Ferraris, 350 to 400k. Porsche, minimum spend is about 150 to about 2. In fact, what am I saying? The Porsche Macan base model that does 0 to 100 in about 5.9 seconds is about 200 grand. The performance model is about 350 for the one that can do it in about 4 seconds, 4.8 seconds. And therefore, when you get something as small and as nimble as this that can do 0 to 100 in 3.6 to 3.8 seconds, and it's only for a base price of about 56k Australian dollars, it starts to give you a good idea of how much MG is over delivering on performance for the price points that they're offering. And it's very easy to become very complacent with what MG is delivering. Now, earlier on while I was driving the car, I went because the road we were on is a little bit of a bendy road, but it's a freeway road, and we were on the freeway and we were doing 100 k's per hour, and we went into a sharp turn, and this car did not feel like we did anything at all. It's very easy to underestimate how good this car handles and how well this car does the job without giving you any grief. The acceleration on this car is ridiculous, and it doesn't do that thing most EVs do where they throw you into the back of your seat. It just does the job. It just accelerates very easily. Another thing that MG has done with this car is to step up the level of ADAS in this car almost at the level 2 plus. So I'm literally not steering at the moment, and my car is maintaining its lane without any issues. Obviously it's going to bip and bong if you take your hands off the steering for too long, but what I'm trying to tell you is that the level of control, level of support, the lane centering, this is better than the Audi Q8 e-tron that I tested. It's better than the Q6 e-tron. It's better than the Mercedes as well. I wonder what you're paying for with the premium badges, and to understand why you're paying so much and getting so little out of it. And I'm really particular about value for money, and the MG punches well above his weight in every single category, with the way it handles, with the way it drives, with the way it accelerates. And it's very easy to underestimate it, and I've been underestimated a few times on motorways, and often enough I've had to suppress myself not to show off, because it's very easy to let the Audis as they drive past, or the Mercedes as they drive past, to let them know that, yeah, your car sucks. And I've done my best not to do so, even though sometimes I've been really tempted. Which takes me to the second thing in there. If you're a parent and you're thinking of buying this car for your kid, please don't buy them the all-wheel drive Performance XPOWER. It's too much power to give to a 20-year-old. I'm a grown man in my 40s, and my wife has had to tell me a few times about my desire to rapidly accelerate in this car. I'm roughly getting about 18.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which means this car is pretty efficient. Put it into context, the most efficient cars you can get at the moment are the Teslas and the Geelys, and they get roughly about 15 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So this car is not doing badly at all. I've had the pleasure of driving this car now for almost about 3 or 4 days, and there are lots of things that I really do like about the car. But there are a few things that I think that MG could have done a little bit better. So let's start with the things I like. The suspension on the car is firm, probably a little bit too firm, but firm, which means the handling of the car is pretty good. And the more you drive it, the more you enjoy it. But for something that drives as well as this does, the seats are not great at all. So it kind of begs the question, why would you design something as capable as this and not get the seating correct? It's a bit of a weird one for me. This car is nippy beyond belief. It's got 160 kilowatts on the rear, 160 kilowatts on the front, giving 320 kilowatts, capable of 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds. But as you can hear, because of all the cheap plastic in there, there's a lot of road noise. It's too noisy, and that kind of ruins the whole experience, because you're struggling to enjoy the car as well as you should be doing, and that is a bit of a problem. the other bit that you've also got to think about is, how do you justify having a car that is worth about 55 to 63,000 Australian dollars that doesn't have adequate lumbar adjustments in it, and the seats are really uncomfortable? It's a bit of a conundrum for me to explain. The visibility out of the car is fantastic. The aggressive aero from the front and design is also pretty good. I think it just needs tweaks and you'd end up with a very, very fantastic car. Right, so I've had the opportunity to have this car with me for about 4 or 5 days now, and I've done a range test on this car. The car does say that it's got a range of about 400 kilometers. Unfortunately, that's not the actual case. If you're driving in and around town, you probably will get somewhere between 320 to 350 kilometers of range on this car. If you do a lot more highway driving, you're going to get about 280 kilometers. I think when I did the highway driving, I got about 22 to 29 kilowatt hours per 100 km, which means that you will end up having to do a lot of charging with this car if you want to take it around. I think MG might have missed a little bit in there by reducing the battery size of this, given the fact that the top spec of the rear-wheel drive had a 77 kilowatt hour battery, and this one's only got a 64 kilowatt. The other thing in there is that there's so much road noise in this car. MG have not paid attention to the little details in there. And finally, you can't have a car in this price point that doesn't have an electric tailgate. You literally have to manually lift this up and manually bring it back down. So if you're looking at this segment, you're going to wonder why you're paying that much. That's one side of it. If you look at all the other cars, they're classed as performance, and the price points you're going to get for them, MG hasn't done too badly with this. So the car that comes closest to this from a performance perspective that does so well is the Sea Lion 7, which is much bigger than this, and you'll get the performance version of the Sea Lion 7 for about 63,000 before on-road costs, and this one is about 55 to 56,000. At the moment there is a little bit of a sale going on, which means you can get the MG XPOWER at the moment drive away for 55,900. So that is a bit of a bargain, but for the things that you're not getting in the car, it does seem like you do miss out on a few things. Now, fortunately and unfortunately, prior to release of this video, we thought that the MG was actually retiring this particular spec, but thankfully yesterday, MG have said that they're going to keep this spec and then they're going to bring out another car in a different segment that's going to compete with the Atto 3. And I think that's a smart move because the car itself is really, really nice. The specific things that need to be fixed, like the tailgates, like I've mentioned, the road noise in the car, and the seats' lack of support. But other than that, is this a very good car? Yes. Does it drive very well? Yes. Does it go into corners well? Yes. The level 2 ADAS system on the car actually works. It doesn't tug at you while you're driving. It doesn't make it very difficult for you when you're driving either. So I think it is a very good car, and I was actually impressed with it. But if you want other people to actually like the car as well, not drive an enthusiast, then you've got to make the car a little bit more comfortable. I had colleagues that were in this car and they found it very difficult to get in and out of it. The lack of lumbar support when you're driving the car, the lack of finesse in the car itself.